Morning, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Ryan's just been cucked out because he always says morning, boys. So I said, Ryan, but you're talking to all our viewers.
And his comment was, but you my boys and my viewers are my
Stuff
viewers.
that, I'm talking to you, Oaks.
No, I'm talking to my boys.
Yeah, well, morning, guys.
Shucks.
Lots to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Interline Agreements, 737 MAX news. But let's start with the Interline. Ryan, you listened to John Howell's interview yesterday with Roger Foster. I believe they went a little bit more into detail about these agreements and their expansion plans for the future. Sounds like he's positive and he's excited about their growth plans going forward. But let's just start with this Interline stuff because it's a hot topic right now. Everyone's talking about it. What is an Interline agreement and what's the difference between that and a codeshare?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's, like you said, there's been a lot of hype about these Interline agreements this week, particularly between Airlink and Emirates, Qatar, and with Safi as well, also jumping on that. I had to go and do some research because I didn't quite understand what an Interline agreement is, because for all these years it's been more about code shares.
So what is it? What
The
does it
definition,
mean?
the definition I've got here, it says an interline flight is an agreement between airlines to coordinate passengers with an itinerary that uses multiple airlines without having to check in again or deal with their baggage at the stopover, as opposed to a code share, which is where airlines operate flights on behalf of another airline using their same flight code. So there is a difference.
Yes.
So effectively, you can book your luggage in Bloem, and it can end up in Paris. You never need to see it again, and that's it.
That's it, and you can do that through the same website. So if you're on Airlink's website, you can book that ticket all the way through. So I suppose it opens up the world a bit to South Africa, which is great. So the more airlines that have these agreements, the better for us customers here in South Africa.
Yeah.
Connectivity is brilliant that way. But that's just for your luggage. I mean, is there financial benefit to it? Is it just the name sharing?
I don't think so. Look,
No.
I'll be honest. I don't know enough about it on the workings of it from a business side. But
Well-
I assume it's more of a connectivity thing and something it's a value add for all their customers.
This article that I came across was quite nice. It simplified it for someone like me and made it easier to understand. Just throwing it out there before you guys get a chance to roast.
And but we know that's where you search for most pictures.
Yeah, interline agreements for dummies. So I understand that this interline thing is like sort of the first level of the four sort of phases that there are to these agreements. So you get interline, then you get code share, then there are alliances, and then joint ventures. We were talking about an analogy earlier where you said, interline agreements are sort of like holding hands before you kiss kind of thing.
Yeah.
Code share would be more like the dating phase, and then alliances obviously pretty much when the airlines get married, and then joint ventures when they become a family.
That's good.
Yeah, I know it's
analogy.
getting deep now, but
It is a deep analogy.
it helped me understand.
But look, I think it's a bigger thing because we don't have SAA at the moment. So South African Airways is sitting on the back burner until the fight between Tito and Pravin is sorted out. But so this connectivity for South Africans is important because you can jump on a South African website and book your ticket overseas.
Well, it kind of feels like Airlink or SAF Air effectively are our new national carriers, both of them.
Well, having listened to that audience with John Howell and Roger Foster yesterday, I kind of picked that up. With this interline agreement. What's happened with Airlink, obviously, with SAA and they're sort of closing up shop, is it's hit Airlink hard, because they used to have a sort of code share arrangement with them. So, this is necessary. I mean, it's sort of how do you adapt to this new world going forward and pick yourself up and dust yourself off and crack on. So, it's a good first step.
They still fly into the most destinations in South Africa, and now they're the most connected airline in South Africa with those two big Middle Eastern carriers. So look, Airlink are flying the flag proudly right now.
Yeah.
Safair arguably domestically probably the preferred operator in terms of the Golden Triangle,
Yep.
Durban, Cape Town, and Joburg.
And they're taking on new aircraft now. First 737-800 now has arrived.
Yeah, they're expanding. Look, I think that deal was done obviously before the pandemic, but they didn't halt that deal. Now that you mention that, Brett, good time to jump in. Boeing deliveries. Third quarter of 2020, Boeing 28 jets delivered for the year. For the quarter. That's 98 for the year, and an overwhelming majority of those is for the 787. The 737 MAX has had 51 of the type removed from its backlog of orders, so they've cancelled those orders. So customers are still cancelling those orders. Boeing's had a total of 1,041 jets cancelled. 1,006 of those is for the MAX alone. So it's great that SAF Air didn't cancel orders. I know it's not for a MAX, but still, they're getting the aircraft in, they're going to make a plan for it, and from what I've read, they're going to actually operate those aircraft. So, yeah, we've said it once, we'll say it again, thank goodness for Fly SAF Air and Airlink. They really are doing a great job.
Definitely.
We've just hinted on the MAX. We spoke about last week the training requirements for the pilots. Obviously, it's been a hell of a long 19 months. This whole MAX saga's gone on. EASA are now satisfied with what Boeing have put together. They say it's safe and the safety standard meets the requirement. It's obviously not quite yet ready to fly. There's a whole paperwork exercise that has to happen, so that'll take a while. But EASA say it's ready. All they want an extra sensor, a third sensor, to be added to the angle of attack sensors that will pick up any erroneous discrepancy between the two. They want that installed, but that doesn't have to be installed straight away. It'll obviously be a bulletin that needs to be initiated, and it will come out in the future. So it's great news for Boeing and great news for the MAX and great news for all the operators that are going to be flying the MAX. And don't forget that's Comair in South Africa as well. They've got their MAX here.
Yeah.
So good news all around.
Look, this needs to it's got to get sorted out. Either can the thing or fix the thing. And it's good that it's been fixed, and it hopefully has a big impact.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk to their big competition, or Boeing's big competition, Airbus. They delivered its 1,500th A330 the other day.
Sorry.
What's that?
No. Just you nearly had a presidential moment there. Never mind, sorry. This is funny. 1,000, never mind.
The A330, of course, introduced as a replacement to the A300. That was back in the early 90s. So that's been a hell of a successful aircraft for Airbus. Obviously, its direct competitor right now is the 787. And the 787 is not receiving the best news of late. They've got issues with their shimmy seals. I think those are the seals between the bulkhead. So for an operator that's looking at buying that gauge of aircraft right now, it's a no-brainer. You're going to go with the Airbus, aren't you?
Well, just having a look at the numbers from Sim Era, our 330 Sim in Paris is flying full-time. So, yeah, it seems like a lot of airlines have chosen the 330.
Well, talking about the 330, you've seen Ugandan Airlines have just taken delivery of their first A330-800 Neo.
Nice paint scheme on that.
Very cool. I actually quite like that livery. They're going to start operating their long-haul flights from December, hey? Routing to London, Dubai and Guangzhou initially. But so nice to see an airline like that, getting off to a good start. Nice aircraft as well.
I enjoy it because if you look at the IATA numbers for 20, they've revised their numbers now. But they're saying effectively Africa's airlines are going to hit 30% of 2019's capacity, which is, man, the numbers are down, from 155 million travelers to 45 million. Middle East declined from 203 million to 60 million. So massive declines, but even during that, I like the fact that airlines are looking at it long term.
Yeah.
moving ahead.
That's why it's such a mixed bag of marbles at the moment. I mean, you've got that, and then I see Egypt have been elected as the preferred partner from the Ghanaian government to start up a new airline in Africa. So it's interesting to see what's going on. You know, you've got airlines buying new airplanes, expanding, new airlines starting up, despite the outlook. It's
I
quite
like
cool.
the activeness of the Ghanaians, because they involved in starting up another airline in Libya as well. So they're spreading out. It's like you're seeing it out of Ethiopia, now you're seeing it out of Ghana. Guys are understanding what they need to do and moving quickly on it, which is really good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good news for the industry here in Africa as a whole. It's great. Corona testing news. I picked this up in the UK. Now this could change everything, so it's worth a chat here. Rapid 1-hour test now available for Italy and Hong Kong passengers at Heathrow Airport. Passengers flying from Heathrow to Italy and Hong Kong will be able to get a coronavirus test at the airport with results in just 1 hour. You can book your private test online for 80 quid. That's about 200,000 South African rand. But thanks, Jacob. These LAMP tests, they call them, they're fast, and they don't require samples to be sent to a lab. Now, don't forget, Heathrow also has that test on arrival capability that hasn't been approved yet by their government. But this could change everything. I mean, if this is approved and this is accepted by IATA across the board, and this becomes the gold standard for testing at the airport, within 1 hour you get your test, jump on an aircraft, go off to your destination, and show your negative result on the other end. It'll be a huge step for the whole industry worldwide.
Be even a better step if you find out which company makes that and buy a share in them.
Yeah,
That's approved.
I just can't understand why this isn't bigger news, because it's huge. I understand, okay, made a joke about the price there, but £80, it's not for free, but it's not overly expensive if you add that to your ticket price. But it'll open up this whole, this uncertainty that's there right now with how does it work, how far in advance do you have to have your test done, where do you get your test done, what test do they accept. This clears all that up, and you do it at the airport, one-stop shop, get it done, jump on the plane, off you go.
Surely there needs to be a bigger push towards that as well, because something like that would aid to a faster recovery. Something that I don't understand as well.
Particularly in the UK, they've had just bad news after bad news consistently now.
Yeah.
So for them, this is massive.
And there's a lot of a push now. People are starting to say a lot. Airlines and this industry and that industry all need more government support, more financial aid, and everything. At some point, the coffers are going to run out. So why not start looking at austerity measures in a way? Instead of saying, well, we can't give you more money because there is no more money to give, but initiate tests like this that would start helping the industry to start moving forward. Because the sooner that your tourism can start up again and your industry can get moving, revenue can get made, it would help. I mean, how are these guys thinking?
Get that momentum, basically.
Exactly.
That'll be a huge push. That's why I say I can't understand why it's not bigger news.
Yeah.
I got sent that information from my aunt in the UK via a website there, and I followed up with a very small segment I saw on Sky News. So it's not massive news, but it is big news. It should be out there, and preferably across the board.
Exactly.
We're chatting about the UK, and this is quite a big story, Brett, that you may not have, well, I'm sure you've picked it up, but the whole thing with Flybe. Flybe have now been, they're going to get going again. If you don't know the whole story, before the whole coronavirus pandemic took its toll on the planet, Flybe closed down. That was must have been about
that was in,
January or so.
Late January, early February, that period.
So it's been bought out by one of its former shareholders, this airline based in Exeter. Now they fly Q400 aircraft. Now, the reason this is interesting is because these guys, there's no doubt, were saved by the pandemic.
How?
Because this happened prior to the pandemic. They were closed. The aviation world was moving ahead at a rapid rate, so that
They couldn't keep up.
the model didn't work in that environment, so they
Yeah.
closed down. It happens. Pandemics now come. Suddenly, Flybe is quite a lucrative product. They're flying the right gauge aircraft. They're based at a smaller airport. They're not based at Heathrow. They're at Exeter. So all those expenses are down. Look at all those lease agreements that they're probably going to be renegotiating now on those Q400s. They're probably paying 50%, if not less, of what they were paying before. The infrastructure that they have is still there. I've made a lot of connections with these employees on LinkedIn recently as well.
Okay.
Nice bunch of guys, and they are, from what I understand, going to be going back to work to continue operating on a very similar business model to what they had before.
Yeah.
The pandemic has brought their gauge aircraft back into the mix. Now, why it's interesting here for us is because, does that sound similar to an SA Express type business model?
Yeah, it just resonates so much of the same. I mean, SA Express is in a very, very similar position, in trouble, fighting for their position in the market. And that could be the same sort of model that could fix SA Express
It's
right
a very
now.
similar model if you think
Yeah.
about it. I mean, Q400s, same aircraft. Okay, SACs had the CRJs as well, but 70-seater sort of gauge. Flying to the smaller airports, it would be, and it is, let's face it, it's a good business model for the post-pandemic world, or even the existing world that we
Well,
find
it would
ourselves in now.
it would work, but if the people that were running the show had their eyes on the ball. I mean, this is where Airlink and Roger Foster are capitalizing on that, because that's exactly how they're managing to come out of this.
But a lot of airlines in Africa are following that exact model. So what's happening here in South Africa is happening in Africa. It's brilliant to see Flybe do that, and those aircraft are. I mean, we've got at Samira a new client, Petroleum Air, out of Cairo, and those guys are following the exact same model. They're dynamic. The management team is strong, and they're choosing very carefully where they're going to.
I didn't actually realize how big Flybe was before they closed down. Hey, I mean they were flying 8 million passengers around a year, and they basically ran 40% of the UK's regional flights. They were quite big.
They employed 2,000 people.
Yeah.
No, they're a big airline.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be starting off as big. They obviously plan to start off small again.
No, of course. But the point is that
they're making a comeback is really cool.
And that comeback is, my opinion, but saved by the pandemic, which is great news. We'll take any positive that you can get out of this. And but it does still, it's a little bit of a dagger in the heart, because so much of the talk locally here in South Africa is about South African Airways. It's continuous. You put any news station on South African Airways. South African Express would be a very good airline for the current environment if the people that made the decisions were to look at it properly and build a sufficient business model for the future around it. It's very, very doable, but the competency and the decision makers that will make that decision, I'm not sure is there.
The profitability isn't there to warrant their attention.
Listen, anything is
that's
possible,
exactly.
and anything can succeed if you take corruption out of the mix.
For sure.
The corruption and the greed at the top levels was where the damage was done. Take that out, and everything can flourish.
Yeah, it's just sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
But enough about that.
You know what is sad? YouTube subscribers.
Oh my word.
That is sad.
Are we talking about that now?
We are talking about that right now.
So I pulled some analytics the other day. Ryan, if you don't know what that is, that's the data.
That's a big word.
But yeah,
I'll go and search it up just now.
60% of our people that watch our YouTube channel are not subscribed to the channel.
And that is a big red sign. Subscribe. It would be so good just to touch it. The problem is, or the challenge comes in, as soon as you've touched that, it asks for your Google password. And I think people see that, have a brain freeze, and like, oh, I'll do it next time.
Yeah, there's also
That's the
this misconception that if you hit that subscribe button that you're going to get charged. It's for free.
It's for free.
Doesn't cost
And we
There's
anything.
no
won't
charge. No.
We don't get your details.
Support us.
Yeah.
It
Hit
would be
subscribe.
great if you could, please, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Right, now that's out the way, but good call, Brett. It was International Day for Air Traffic Controllers.
Yes.
When
Yeah,
was that? A
very
couple
cool.
of days ago.
Yeah, on the 20th of October, International ATC Day.
Yeah, so big shout out to all our ATC friends around the world. Thanks for guiding us into these airports safely. And yeah, shout out to all those, particularly our friends here at ATNS.
Yeah. Great job on pushing 10, boys.
Well
And
done.
girls.
Is that movie on Netflix? I wouldn't mind watching that again.
Yeah, I actually watched it a couple of months ago during lockdown. Funny enough, it was one of my favorite aviation movies. I just really enjoyed it. And I think it is on Netflix or Showmax or one of those. But yeah, good movie nevertheless.
Pushing 10, good movie. Can
Yeah.
I mention my LinkedIn connection of the week?
Absolutely.
Go for
Pilot Khomotso. She came to visit us.
Yes,
here the other
yeah.
day.
It's so cool to see her.
You know what was so nice with her, Brett? I arranged a meeting with her. I had to change the meeting time a couple of times because I was busy with other things. She arrived early. She arrived in a full pilot uniform, including a tie. And she went about asking questions that were very relevant and not ones that you would expect from such a young aviator or young lady. But we put her in the MD-80 sim, which she landed like a champion. And what struck me with her and why she's very much worth a mention, when I asked her, what's your YouTube channel all about? And what she's trying to do is she's making videos, and they're for people to understand, they're for a wide range of people to understand. She says she uses language that everyone can understand. She tries to not overcomplicate things. And she's just trying to promote aviation in South Africa, and in Africa. So, what better person for us to get behind and promote?
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta go and what's her YouTube channel again?
Pilot
Khomotso.
That's it.
Sorry, you might have
I
to say
just-
that again because
there we go.
I gave a bit of stereo there. Pilot Khomotso.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched her video last night, and she put a great little 11-minute video together.
Yeah.
You gotta go and watch it.
No,
Yeah, her
she's-
videos are great. They're well edited.
Yeah, much better than the way you edit,
Yeah,
Bryan.
whatever.
She could teach you a thing or two. But yeah, very nice to see. I mean, it just rings so true. Your attitude determines your altitude, and
Ooh.
heavy, huh?
Getting
That
deep.
is
Yes.
Getting deep.
I'm impressed.
Aim to please, boys. Angles.
I would have thought Crash and Burn is more your logo.
Yeah, for those that obviously no one knows, but what was this? Was this take 6 this morning?
6, 7.
Not all of it was my fault.
The
126
first
and
5.5 was Pilot Parrock, and then the air conditioner turned on unexpectedly at one point.
So I said
so-
it's not all my fault.
and just ignore the beep of the GoPro shutting down.
Yeah, jeez.
There was a mic failure as well, but that wasn't my
Yeah.
fault
getting
either.
We're going to end off today with a little bit of the negative stuff first. Let's talk about Qatar. They've operated throughout the pandemic. They're flying, they started their Bulgaria flight the other day, so that's the 100th destination added back to their full network. So they've flown continuously. They are trying to get back to a normal operation. What was interesting there, their chief executive, he reckons that, first of all, they've parked their A380s. He says there's no market for the A380s right now. The passenger levels are just not there. He even goes even further and says if you are operating an A380 now, you're being irresponsible. So he says they will not operate those aircraft until we see 2019 levels of air travel back in South Africa. Not South Africa, in the world. So we might never see those. They won't operate those aircraft beyond 10 years. So that's 224. So is it worth bringing those aircraft back for a year or 2 years before they retire them again? I doubt it. So we might not even see those A380s. Etihad's still trying to decide what it must do with its A380 fleet. It might be the end of that aircraft. Obviously Emirates are operating it, but you wonder when the 777 X is up
Yeah.
and flying, and might be done a few years early for that A380, which is very sad because it's a beautiful aircraft.
Yeah, look, the demise of the A380 was coming anyway. The airlines weren't all that impressed by its efficiency. Obviously, COVID expedited that whole thing, but anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit sad still.
Something else that's sad in aviation is, have you seen what's happening with Cathay Dragon?
This is sad because there's so many South Africans there.
Yeah.
Shout out to all those guys,
Yeah.
our friends at Cathay Dragon.
Yeah.
Tough one, that.
Stay strong, guys. We're all behind you, and just stay positive. We will get through this, one way or another.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
I still maintain we lost our flying jobs. When was it? Sort of very early on. I think the day lockdown started in 25th of March or so. 26th.
Yeah, it was like a week before that or something.
We obviously never received our salaries then, and we knew, right, this is the end. But it's given us this period now to make plans and prepare. But a lot of these guys, particularly when you're living there in Hong Kong with your whole family, now you've got to reposition, move everyone back to South Africa. It's a hell of a difficult thing. We're here to support you, and please contact us if you like.
Yeah.
What I saw there, though, it says it didn't look like it was just mass across the board getting rid of everyone. It's basically there'll be new contracts for the pilots, but it's on a take it or leave it policy.
Yeah.
Sign on the dotted line or cheers.
Yeah. And it's not just obviously the Cathay Dragon guys that lose their job. I think it's some 6,000 jobs across the Cathay group. So not just pilots and cabin crew and obviously right throughout. But yeah, sad nevertheless.
But that's the problem for the employees, though. It's that take it or leave it attitude that they are. Emirates had the same problem. It was, you don't deal with people like that. So, I think that comes around to bite you eventually.
Yeah, it's a sad one.
Yeah.
As we said, particularly just because of so many South Africans there. But guys,
Yeah, listen, I'm going to try and end off with something profound.
go ahead.
We were doing these quote things a couple of shows ago. I came across this one from Abraham Lincoln. Things may come to those who wait, but only the things left behind by those who hustle.
Did he say that?
Yeah?
Awesome.
Cool, eh?
Very good.
It's all
Very
about
profound.
It's all about the hustle right now.
Exactly.
Guys, thank you.
Cheers.
23rd show. It's always such a pleasure.
Thanks, guys, and please subscribe.
Yeah, don't forget. Cheers, everyone.
Ciao.
Cheers.
Take care.
Take 10.